what have you. 3, how did it breathe? Space is a vacuum. There's no oxygen out there. How did it breathe? Try to stop breathing for 1 minute. You can't even do it. Never mind billions of years. Now, the next one is when it hits the Van Allen radiation belt, how does it stop from burning up? Never mind that. You have to also deal with the atmosphere. How does it stop from burning up there? So, those organisms in the back of crystals, make absolutely no sense. So, now we're going to get to the main reason why I made this shirt right here. I'm going to get a good look at that, people. Get a good look at that one. Okay, macroevolution. This is where Darwin comes in. Ooh, Darwin. Let's go, Charlie. Okay, it's never been observed. Evolution. Never. You see, basic logic I use on, I also have a Darwin Lied video on here on YouTube, so you can check that one out. Basically it says, okay, if a monkey gives birth, go to a zoo, monkey is pregnant, due to give birth at any minute. So you're watching at the cage, wherever, I've never seen one happen, so I'm just going to assume it's in the cage, probably with doctors there, whatever, what have you. If it gives birth, what does it give birth to? A monkey or a human? Now if it gives birth to a monkey, Darwin was wrong. If it gives birth to a human, Darwin was right. So if adult monkeys give birth to baby monkeys, how did that make for Darwin being right? How did evolution occur? This is, oh, there's some chemical bacteria in the stomach. Well, my friend who grew up in Brazil, he knows the rainforest a lot there. And he also knows the jungles where the monkeys live. And he says that you have different species of monkeys living next to each other, eating the same food, you know, the same system, ecological system, what have you, and they're different kinds. How does that work? You know, how does evolution work there? You see, and also, for one, from what I've researched, say DNA, the DNA structure in your body, is if you stretch it out to singular molecules. I'm not sure about this data, I'm not sure which one of these is right. Either it could stretch for 20 billion miles, or it can go from the Earth to the Moon and back over 20 billion times. So that I don't know, but think about that. DNA stretching back and forth, or going our thing for 20 billion times. Now, what are the odds of each of those molecules coming together by chance over 6 billion times on its own in perfect sequential order? So if one of them is out of order, it will not work. What are the odds of that happening? The odds? Impossible. That means never happened. Now, of course, evolutionists will cling to Darwin's book, you know, thing. You see, I'm not sure if evolutionists know this, but I'm going to point something out to them. You see, Darwin wrote a book called Origin of Species, back in, I think, 1859, I believe it was, or mid-1800s. Now, the problem is they think it's Origin of Species. However, that's not the original title. I have the original title. It's basically this is the 6th edition Penguin published it. Now, I'm not sure why Penguin would move into the toilet paper business when they decided to publish his book, but that's up to Penguin's hierarchy to decide that. Okay, it says, on the origin of species by means of natural selection or the preservation of races in the struggle for life. Yeah, that's a pretty long title. Now, I don't know about you, but after the origin of species, now I'm going to read this again. On the origin of species by means of natural selection or the preservation of races in the struggle for life. Now, honestly, the first thought that comes to my mind when I hear that, Holocaust. Because Adolf Hitler was a strong believer in evolution, in Darwinism. Most of the Nazi scientists at the time, you can get this from the Expelled, No Intelligence Allowed. There's a DVD, great documentary. Blows a hole in evolution. Twice. So I'm doing it myself, on my part here, through God. And this is Christmas Day. And basically, all the Nazi scientists, like I said, were Darwinists, and Hitler was a strong follower of Darwin and evolution. And basically, when I think about that, I'm thinking, how can anyone justify that? You know, people say, oh, social Darwinism. Well, social Darwinism is basically cleansing of inferior people. is what the Holocaust is all about. Okay? It's what Margaret Sanger, who inspired the Holocaust, was all about. Because she said that blacks, Jews, and Asians were inferior. They were human weeds. That's why she created the birth control pill. She inspired Hitler. You see, Darwin, Margaret Sanger, and Hitler all had a common ground. You see, and how many people know this? Did you ever get this in school? No, you didn't. No. So I'm going to teach it to you probably for the first time. Some of you may know this, a lot of you may not. Whatever, you're going to come together right now. And what else is I going to say here? Yeah, so, I mean, to be honest, I mean, you come up with a book like that, with a title like that, and you can some people try to justify it. There's no justification. How do you justify it on the preservation of races? I mean, come on, honestly. That's ethnic cleansing right there, or whatever other kind of cleansing you can think of. Now the thing is survival of the fittest. Now this is an interesting concept. The problem is there's a problem with that. You see, suppose you have a shark, let's say, and a school of fish come towards it, right? So, and say there's 100 school of fish. Most of them come in, the shark bites them. Okay, suppose 30 of them escape simply by the tide of, or the current of the jaws coming together from the shark. So, will those 30 be fit? No, they'd be lucky. So Darwin's theory, or survival of the fittest, does not work in that situation. So if it doesn't work in that situation, it cannot work in all situations. So therefore, that survival of the fittest, no. Basically, and if you look at mankind now, these days, the reason why some people survive and some people don't is because media brainwashing. So it's not really, it's all a matter of what you believe. That's the problem, you see. You're not fit because it comes naturally. Sometimes it's all what you learn, you know, how you learn. So you cannot say really someone's inferior because they were beaten in this or that, or they died. There has to be some reason, you know. Like I just explained with the fish. I mean, they were not survived because they were fit. They survived because they were lucky. You know, that was it. You know, so suppose, let's say a fox chases a lamb near the edge of a cliff. The lamb looks just sees enough of the edge to go back. The fox does not see enough of it, stumbles and falls over. So is the lamb fit, or is he lucky? The lamb was lucky. So survival of the fittest does not work in that situation either. So yeah. Next one would be, let's see here, microevolution. This is where there's changes within the species. Like for example, a crossbreeding, dogs, you know, we see that every time, so there's no denying about that. We see it every time. I don't even know if I've seen a purebred dog, period. Humans intermix. I see a lot of, you know, interracial couples. That happens. You know, don't deny that. You know, that's there. But I also wanted to touch on a few things that I read on the internet where it says there's inconsistencies in the Bible. First of all, there's no such thing as inconsistencies in the Bible. People, what they do, mainly atheists, what they do, they love taking a verse, reading it, then finding another verse that says the exact opposite. And they try to merge them, saying, oh look, he says it here, this quote, a verse, says something not found in this verse. There's one little problem with that. You see, if you read the whole paragraph stanza, it'll explain why there's an inconsistency. For example, there's one that says, you know, well, curse your family, curse your children, curse what have you. I can't remember the Bible quote. It's on, if you look at inconsistencies in the Bible, you'll find it there. Then another one says, oh, praise your thing. I won't hold your family responsible for doing wicked things. It says, oh, you have it right here, you'll do wicked things, and over here he says you won't. The problem is, in the first instance, he was talking about the devil and his followers. He'll destroy wickedness. The second one refers to the sins of the father, or sins of the son. So if a father, let's say, was employing somebody and refused to pay them, the employee, the son or the children should not be held responsible for the father's decision. That's what that quote meant. You know, atheists love saying, taking a little verse, or a little verse right here, and merging together saying, oh, it's a contradictory. No, it isn't. You have to read the whole context. You have to read the whole chapter. Sometimes it takes maybe about a page to actually understand the quote, or the verse. You know, so don't tell me there's inconsistencies. Just do your homework. Read the whole verse, even if it means reading from 5 to 6. You know, for one of the major chapters, it doesn't matter. Read the whole thing. You know, don't just read one line that says, oh, that's inconsistent. No, it isn't. You have to know how to read it.